Sekhar, first of all, thanks a lot for being a panelist at Pan IIT Global Leadership Conference in Sunrise Areas for Entrepreneurs panel. And from the organizing committee, a special thanks for the sponsorship. Really needed it.
You're welcome.
Sekhar, you did your PhD from Johns Hopkins University and MBA from Wharton after graduating from IIT Bombay. Share with the audience and people here, how did IIT prepare you to take on the academic rigors of some of the top schools in America over a period of time?
Well, first of all, I think the IITs have, over the course of several years, established themselves as a premier institution in India. And collectively, I think they prepare people for pretty much any discipline. I mean, even though they're an engineering school, they've actually done quite well in getting people prepared for just about anything, including a significant and substantial number of people ending up in business. I think a lot of it has to do with the selection process. So it's an institution that has continuously excelled in terms of picking the best people. And after that, I would say, in addition to having the peer group that you work with, the number of things that they focus on in terms of intensity, both in terms of academic excellence in education, in the professors and how they teach, the tests, test-taking methodologies. I think they just put people through an incredible amount in the four-year curriculum that once they are out, including myself, you feel like you're ready to take on just about anything in the whole world.
Thank you. That's something every IITian wants to hear. Thank you. Sekhar, you're specifically from IIT Bombay campus, and as you know, IIT Bombay has a special distinction in the Pan IIT community for being very active with organizing these events. Tell us a little bit more about your association with Pan IIT community, and why do you feel alumni across the country should be attending this conference?
Well, first of all, I'm delighted to be part of the conference as well as my association with Pan IIT. I think in terms of alumni networks, again, having graduated from IIT Bombay and then having spent time at Johns Hopkins, at Wharton, being part of McKinsey, I can tell you that the value of being associated within an alumni network is tremendous. And for everyone that knows how to leverage that appropriately, I would say it's a great benefit. The IITs collectively, I would say, have an alumni network that is, I would claim, is one of the best in the whole world, both in terms of size as well as in terms of what people are doing after having graduated from those institutions. You've got people, you've got CEOs, you've got people in leadership capabilities and just across companies in the whole world globally. So with that in mind, I would say I would encourage everybody to be part of the Pan IIT group as an alum of IITs, and also find ways in which not just to restrict themselves to the conference itself, but find ways even after the conference to staying in touch. But as a beginning, I would encourage everybody to essentially come and attend the conference if at all that's possible for them.
Great. And it's kind of a place to start, networking with your peers and seniors, as well as people who have come after you to exchange ideas. Thanks a lot, Sekhar. Sekhar, you are part of, one of the most sought after panels in the conference, Sunrise Areas for Entrepreneurs, along with a couple of other venture capitalists from Sandhill Road, people from Angel Community. Tell us a little bit about this particular panel, because the theme for this panel is your brainchild. So I'd love to hear from you directly.
Okay, excellent. Well, first of all, it's the best panel, so I would hope that everybody shows up there. But we intend to touch on two things as part of the panel. First, I would say, is just ideas for entrepreneurship. There are just so many trends in technology that are going on, not just today, but things that we envision coming to the forefront. That would be outstanding for people to come in and hear about all these ideas. I mean, just as an example, a couple of areas that we are focused on include things in terms of how we can take technologies that have succeeded in the enterprise and bring it into the service provider domain. As an example, network functions virtualization is a space that I'm leading within VMware. Another area that is actually very, very fertile is all of the discussions around the Internet of Things. And how that is going to change the world. Each one of these things comes with a good amount of what I would call as a speculation and a good amount of things that can be done very constructively to advance the state of technology. So these are all examples that of things that we would discuss in the panel. The other area that we are going to focus on in the panel is just investments and how entrepreneurs can get investments from different sources. Us as a corporate investor, different forms of venture capitalists, angel investors, smaller VCs. So you see kind of the spectrum of possibilities for an entrepreneur to get investment, and we'll cover all of this in that panel.
I mean, it's, as Sekhar said, this is something which all would-be entrepreneurs should certainly attend, as they will get good ideas, not just about the areas to focus upon, but also how to fund their companies going forward. Well, Sekhar, thanks again for VMware to be sponsored at the conference. And as we mentioned earlier, a good part of VMware's top leadership comes from IITs. Any message to IITians on behalf of VMware?
Well, first of all, I mean, just in behalf of the company, I would say we are a leading and premier software company in the Valley. I have been here now 8 years, and I find that it is a tremendous place to cultivate what I would think are leading ideas in technology, particularly in enterprise software. I also encourage people to look at us as a possible place to spend either your career or at least a part of your time in. I also think that the association of companies in Silicon Valley with the obvious kind of Stanford and Berkeley in the neighborhood, and then just having venture capitalists all around us in Sand Hill, that ecosystem leads to entrepreneurs being very successful, as well as entrepreneurial ideas being successful even in a company like VMware. So I think just collectively, I would say I am delighted to be in the leading company like VMware, but also being part of this institution and bringing our strength to bear into the IIT community and vice versa.
And just to reiterate, Sekhar heads the strategy and corporate development team for VMware, which includes investments, so he's very close to some of the ideas and thoughts that you guys typically have, and the group with which you typically end up working closely when you're working with VMware for investments or ideas. Sekhar, any closing thoughts before we end this conversation?
Like I said, I think the conference itself is going to be an excellent confluence of people from different domains that are alums of IITs. And so I would encourage everybody to come be a part of this conference. I think in terms of the panel, as well as all of the other keynotes and panels, I'm confident that people are going to be walking away from the conference with great new ideas to execute both as part of their existing charters and perhaps new ones. And I thank the organizers for having me be a part of this, and I'm delighted to be a part of the Pan IIT group. But once again, I would just say that this shouldn't be a one-time occurrence. I would encourage people to come attend and then continuously be part of the community going forward.
Sekhar, the pleasure is all ours. We really want to thank Sekhar on behalf of the whole Pan IIT community. He has been completely supportive to us, not just organizing this panel, but helping us to the sponsorship process. As you know, this is a volunteer-driven conference. So friends, thanks once again to Sekhar and VMware on part of the broader Pan IIT community. And I know IIT Bombay guys want to take a special credit. So yes, on part of IIT Bombay. Thanks a lot. Yeah, thank you.